Hello students, in the previous class we have discussed about health. So what is health? Let us recap. Health is a state of mental, physical and social well-being. And then also we have studied that health depends upon some factors. So some factors are there which decide our health. So the first one which we have seen was personal hygiene. So personal hygiene maintains our health. Okay, and then we have also seen that how surroundings help us to maintain our health. Okay, so our social environment, then public cleanliness is also maintaining our health, means our health depends upon public cleanliness. So good economic condition, we have seen that the person should eat food to be healthy, and the food is to be earned by doing the work. So and the jobs opportunity should be made available to the people of India so that they can do the job and earn the money and buy the food and be healthy. And then we have also seen in the last that social equality and harmony is very important for being healthy. And then we have seen the next topic was disease and health. So what is the difference between distinction between disease free and healthy? So we have seen if we have any discomfort, we call it as a disease. But to be more precise, if there is a discomfort and there is no reason behind that discomfort, then we say that some abnormal thing is there, but that we cannot call it as a disease. But if there is a reason behind that particular discomfort, then we call it as a disease. And then we have seen health. For health, the meaning of the word health is different for different individuals. For a dancer it is different, for a musician it is different, okay, for a student it is different, for a teacher it is different. So it is different for different individuals. Now in today's class we are going to discuss about disease and its causes, and we are also going to discuss in this topic, we are going to discuss about what does a disease look like. So how can we see a disease, or how does the disease look like? Okay, now suppose, now let us continue with this, and then let me explain you one more thing that you have already studied, that our body is made up of different organ systems. Okay, we have different organ systems, like we have digestive system, we have excretory system, reproductive system, okay, respiratory system, circulatory system, endocrine system. So these all systems are there in our body, and these systems are made up of different organs. Okay, so we have different systems in our body, and these are made up of different organs, and these organs are made up of different tissues, and these tissues are made up of different cells. So cells make the tissues make the organs, and organs are making the organ system, and these organs and organ systems are doing a special or a specific work. Whatever work they are doing, they are doing specifically. Suppose we talk about our circulatory system. So circulatory system consists of heart and blood vessels. Okay, so heart is pumping the blood to the blood vessels, and then blood is transporting various substances into the different parts of the body. It transports oxygen and nutrients, and it also brings the hormones and takes away carbon dioxide. It also transports, it contains cells also, red blood cell, white blood cell, which provide immunity to the body. Platelets give helps in clotting of the blood. So different systems are there in our body, and they are doing specific functions. So suppose if we have any discomfort, then what will happen? The normal functioning of the body will not be there. Means these are functioning, our organ systems are functioning normally. So let me write here, they are functioning normally. All the organs and organ systems are functioning normally when we don't have any problem. But whenever there is a problem, the normal functioning becomes abnormal. So normal means becomes abnormal, means there is some kind of problem when the functioning is not normal or the functioning is abnormal. Then it means that there is some kind of problem in the body, and that discomfort, because of the abnormal functioning we have discomfort, and because of this discomfort there are certain signs and symptoms. Okay, so these signs and symptoms then give rise to a disease. Okay, so basically what is happening, let me explain you once more, that we have different organs and organ systems in our body. These are doing normal functioning, and when there is a problem the normal functioning becomes abnormal, and because of this abnormal functioning we have different signs and symptoms, like we have fever, we have headache, we have swelling, we have itching, or there are variety of symptoms are there depending upon what is the disease. So what is a disease basically? So disease is known by its signs and symptoms. How can we know the disease? Whenever you go to a doctor, the doctor is asking lots of questions. Whenever you go to a doctor and if you have a disease, he is asking lot of questions. Why? Because he is looking for signs and symptoms. So whatever information you are telling him, so always tell right information to the doctor. Otherwise if you tell the wrong information, you will going to get the wrong treatment. So if you don't want wrong treatment on your body, then give the right information to the doctor. So whenever doctor is asking a particular type of questions, he is looking for signs and symptoms. The physician or the doctor is looking for what? Signs and symptoms. So signs and symptoms will decide what disease you have. Okay, like for example, if you have a headache, okay, now headache can be because of many reasons, because of you did not sleep in the night properly, or maybe because of brain fever, or maybe because of something else. Okay, so if only headache is there, then it may go after some time, but if the headache plus more symptoms are there, then I think you have to visit the doctor. Suppose with headache you are becoming faint, it means there is some serious problem is there, it is not a simple headache. Simple headache you can get relieved by sleeping. If you sleep properly, sound sleep, then headache will go after certain time. Okay, but if headache is accompanied with other signs and symptoms, it means there is a some serious problem is there. So you have to visit the doctor and tell him all the symptoms, all the problems which you are having. So whatever problems are there in your body which is not normal functioning, which is abnormal functioning, they are signs and symptoms. I hope you have understood what does a disease look like. Let us see what is given in the NCERT. Let us read from here. Let us now think a little more about the diseases. Okay. So in first place, how do we know that there is a disease? How do we know? If there is not, if something is abnormal in our body, we call it a disease. For example, if you have loose motions, generally when we are healthy, we don't have loose motions. When we are disease free, we don't have loose motions. So if suppose we have loose motion, now loose motions can be because of many reasons. It can be because of indigestion, the food does not get digested properly. Then it can be because of any amoeba or bacteria or virus is entering in your body and causing the disease in your stomach. Okay, or maybe you have eaten something which is not, which was contaminated, which was spoiled, which was not properly cooked. So there is variety of reasons why you are having a loose motion. So let us see what is happening here. So how do we know whether that there is a disease? When there is abnormal functioning in the body, then we know that there may be a disease. In other words, how do we know that there is something wrong with the body? There are many changes, many tissues in our body, as we have seen in chapter number 6. These tissues make up physiological systems, or we say organ systems that carry out different functions. I have already explained it there, and each organ systems has got many organs, like we have digestive system made up of mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, anus. So these are different organs of the digestive system and it has particular functions. So the digestive system has stomach and intestines and helps to digest food from outside the body that we are eating. Then we have musculoskeletal system made up of muscles and bones, which helps in locomotion and movement, which hold the body part together and helps in movement and locomotion. So now let us see what is they are telling. When there is a disease, either the functioning of one or more systems will change, or the shape of that particular organ will change. Okay, so two things are happening whenever there is a disease. Okay, either the functioning will change. So number one, functioning will change or the shape will change. Like you know about shape means swelling. Like if we have jaundice. Okay, so jaundice, what happens in jaundice? The size of the liver increases. Okay, so whenever there is a some problem is there in our body, there will be certain signs and symptoms, and the doctor is looking for these signs and symptoms, and they will tell us what does the disease, what is the disease you are having. These changes give rise to symptoms and signs of the disease. So what is symptoms? Symptoms of the disease are things we feel as being wrong. So whatever is wrong in our body, they are symptoms. So we have a headache, cough, loose motions. These are all symptoms. These indicate that there may be a disease. So signs will give rise, symptoms will give rise to signs of a disease. Okay. For example, a headache may mean that examination stress, or very rarely meningitis. Meningitis means brain fever. Okay, you can write here brain fever, or any of the dozen of different diseases. So headache, simple headache can be there. It will go after certain time period, after 2 or 3 hours. But if you have a brain fever, then you have to visit the doctor and tell him. Along with this headache, you may have certain other symptoms also. So symptoms are, what is symptom? Symptom is anything abnormal happening in the body is called as symptom. And based on the symptom, we have signs of a disease. Are what physicians mean doctors is looking for when you are going to a doctor and telling about the symptoms. So signs will give more definite indication of the presence of a particular disease. So physicians will get the laboratory test if they are not sure. If they are not sure that what is a disease in your body, so they will tell you for different type of test: blood test, urine test, stool test. These are the three main tests. When the doctor is not sure, he is telling you about these tests, and when you are getting the test done from a laboratory, from a pathology lab, then on the basis of the test he will give you the treatment. So number one, you should tell all the things correctly to the doctor so that you should get proper treatment. And whenever you are getting the test done, you should go to a certified pathology lab so that the result of the test should be accurate. If it is wrong, then you will again get the wrong treatment. Okay, so I hope you understood what does a disease look like. So disease depends upon symptoms and signs. So disease is characterized by its signs and symptoms. Now let us talk about acute and chronic diseases. So what do you mean by acute and chronic diseases? Let us discuss. They are very simple concept is there. Let us discuss about acute and chronic diseases. Okay, so diseases based on the time period. Diseases, I repeat, diseases based on the time period is divided into two types: acute and chronic. Based on the time period means how long they will remain in our body. So based on the time period, the diseases are divided into two categories: acute and chronic. So acute means the disease are there for very short period of time. So disease are there for very, I'm just writing the important point. Okay, short period of time. It remains in our body for short period of, very short period of time. Okay, for example, common cold. Common cold get over within 1 week. Within 1 week. Okay, so they remain in our body for 3 to 4, 5 or 1 week. They are called as acute diseases. Example, I have already told you, common cold. And this is the first point. And the second, and chronic disease. Let us discuss about the chronic. Chronic means they remain in our body for long time, even for lifetime. Okay, so remain in, these disease remain in our body for long term or even for lifetime. Okay, so even for lifetime they are there in our body. And example is, you can note down, cancer, long term disease, Diabetes, long term disease. Diabetes is a lifetime disease. But now, according to the new research, we can cure diabetes. But then there are certain things which the person has to follow. Okay. Now, one more thing I want to tell you about acute and chronic disease. Do they do, suppose, let us take an example of invaders. Now you have read in history that many invaders came in our country and they have destroyed many things in our country. Suppose an invader is coming. Okay, suppose a terrorist is coming in our country and then he remains in our country for 5 days, and we can kill him after 5 days. Within 5 days, we have killed all the terrorists. Okay, now another group of terrorists is coming in our body and they remain in our country for about 1 month. So, what do you think? Who will do more destruction? Those who remain in our country for 1 week, or those who have remained in our country for 1 month? So, those who remain in our country for long time, they will kill more people. They will do more destruction, and those who are living in our body for less time, they will do less destruction and they will cause less problems. Okay, so those disease causing microbes which remain in our body for short time, they cause less problems, and those which remain in our body for long time, they lead to poor health. So acute diseases may not lead to, or does not, you can write here, does not lead to poor health, but the acute diseases lead to chronic diseases lead to poor health, does not lead to poor health. Okay, but they chronic disease lead to, they lead to poor health. So I hope you have understood what do you mean by acute and chronic disease. Those diseases which remain in our body for a very short period of time, they are called acute, and those which remain in our body for very long time, they are called as chronic diseases. So let us see what is given here in the NCERT. The manifestation of the disease, manifestation means for how long it will remain in our body, will be different depending on number of factors. Some disease last only for very short period of time. These are called as acute disease, and like common cold example, and other ailments or other disease can last for a lifetime, for a long time, or even as much as a lifetime, and these are called as chronic disease. Example, elephantiasis, cancer, diabetes. There are many diseases which are long term diseases. So you note down all these points, and the next class we are going to start the next topic. Okay, thank you students.